Hello, I'm FGX again. When most people picture Minecraft being played, they probably picture it being played on some form of PC device. But the truth is, it's 2019, most people play Minecraft on one of these, maybe one of these, and sometimes on the Windows 10 version of Minecraft, but this is all one version of the game called Minecraft Bedrock. This is the version of the game with the most players, the most sales, the one that makes the most money, and the one that has the most developers, but despite that fact, the Java edition, the one that started it all, is still the version of the game which has many things going for it, many things better than this Bedrock version, and today I wanted to talk about the biggest disappointment for Bedrock, and that is all the little ways in which it is behind, and maybe talk about why that is. Why is Bedrock not the dominant version of Minecraft amongst the hardcore fans? That's something I wanted to address and talk about in today's video, and I hope you all do enjoy it. Like this if you do like it, but let's dive straight into it. So let's start by just kind of summing this up in one big point, which is the fact that Bedrock Edition is behind Java Edition in so many significant ways, and by that I don't just mean like, oh yeah, look at 1.14. There are so many more features available in 1.14, at least the snapshot so far, than we've seen so far in the 1.9 update for Minecraft Bedrock. I mean, again, these are both two versions of the game being developed by different teams. The Java team is so much smaller, but the Bedrock team is getting less output out there. We've seen so much less come to Bedrock, and this is kind of a weird thing. It gets there later, and it gets there generally in lower forms of content, so you question like, okay, so new updates don't seem to be happening quite as fast on Bedrock. This seems to be counter to how you'd want to do things to make things catch up, but it's also true when you go back into the rest of the past, because 2018 was the first year where Minecraft Bedrock really kept up to date with the Java Edition. Java Edition got the aquatic update, Bedrock got the aquatic update in 4 separate updates, weirdly enough, but it got it in 3 to 4 separate updates, and then it also got a few extra features. It kept up, and it also made a little bit of work on getting the other things done. So for instance, commands got improved. So for instance, ghasts got like more normalized. A lot of different things were improved in 2018 besides the Java Edition features, and this is how things should be. When you have a bigger team, a bigger budget, a bigger player base, you should be able to expand the game in a much bigger form, but this happened a little bit in 2018, but not really at any great pace. It seemed to be the big goal for the longest time was to get the Bedrock Edition on par with Java, and then they just one day declared that that had been done, and they've kind of stopped improving the game ever since. But this isn't something they've ever actually really achieved, because the Java Edition is ahead of the Bedrock in a lot of different ways, and in case you're curious about how that is, because they're both on the same update, they both have the same rough set of features, but the Java Edition has a whole bunch of just features which have just gone missing from Bedrock. So just to take 2018 for instance, you might not realize it, but bark blocks never came to Bedrock and still don't have a planned release date. Like a 6-sided wood block is something that would be really handy on Bedrock. It's just not there. Alongside it are the strip bark blocks, of course, no bark, no strip bark blocks. Alongside that are things like the floor item frames or item frames on ceilings, kind of useful, fun features from what was going to be the 1.13 update before it became the aquatic. They just never made their way into the Bedrock, and they don't seem to be acknowledged anywhere. Like, there's a key part of the update aquatic, and it's kind of not in there. Banner markers, they're such a handy feature, they just never kind of made it, and this is something which isn't really being addressed anywhere. When we talk about these features, it's like, oh yeah, that's not part of the update aquatic, and it's like, well, it was, it came out on Java, and they never really give a proper answer as to why it's not on Java, but it is on Bedrock, and this is something which is really strange on the surface. They're just missing lots of features, and they're missing them on the version of the game that more and more people want to buy. And although this is strange when you just take newer features, like, oh yeah, it would be cool to have bark blocks or floor item frames or banner markers, it's also true for a lot of historical features. For instance, when Console Edition, was kind of integrated into Bedrock, they tried to add all of the console features, and they made a mega update. The 1.2 Better Together update was an amazing update if you weren't a console player, because they added so many features just to, get all the console features transferring over properly, and then they promised, oh yeah, the rest of the features, with the exception of the furnace minecart, will be coming over eventually. So like Amplified, they'd get round to that soon. Stuff like custom super flats, they'd get that going soon. It just wasn't an immediate feature, but yet here we are. 1.2 was in 2017, it's 2019, still no sign of custom worlds besides that boilerplate code they copied from Java. Still no sign of custom superflats, still no sign of Amplified, and it's kind of weird that just more and more features seem to be going missing from Bedrock. If Bedrock wants to be the main version of Minecraft, if Bedrock wants to be a version of Minecraft that any Java Edition player can completely switch to, that's something they kind of need to do, because right now the biggest barrier, for instance, is the fact that when you go on servers on the Bedrock version, it's got a lot of the same connection abilities as the Java Edition, but then the servers themselves just don't have all the same capabilities. And whether this is Minecraft itself or the server partners, they're official Minecraft partners with official microtransactions built into the servers, but despite that, they just run worse than the free-ish community servers which are on Java. And this is a pattern you just see repeat and repeat and repeat and repeat. Things that aren't on Bedrock but kind of should be, things which people really want on Bedrock but just kind of aren't and don't have an announced release date. They're not even announced that they're coming at all. I mean, you used to assume that any feature that was in any other edition would be coming to Bedrock, but nowadays it's not communicated very clearly. And this is why I want to talk about what my theory for why this is, because although a lot of people jump immediately to the whole like, oh yeah, so this is a conspiracy theory, if you don't know, Minecraft Bedrock does have microtransactions. Every single Tuesday without fail, they add a brand new set of maps, a brand new set of skin packs, packs, and they profit from these things. No matter what happens, no matter how many updates come out, every Tuesday this big map release does make them some more money, and that's regardless of whether they're releasing brand new updates or not. In fact, I would even perhaps wager that when there is a new update, people are less interested in the store, because the more survival stuff you have means the more content you can create for yourself, as opposed to having to buy it from other people. And although that's something which I don't think we can't say it's true, and I doubt there is any truth to that whole thing, it is the sort of thing where it's like, oh yeah, well the incentive systems totally aren't correct for Minecraft Bedrock. Instead of being incentivized to make the game better and better and hope people buy it that way, they now have the incentive of hoping that, people want to play Minecraft but can't find anything to do in the game, and hopefully they do things out of the store. But I think the actual big explanation, again, although going conspiracy mode is fun, and although I think that shows that their incentives are kind of misaligned, I think the more likely culprit is the fact that Minecraft Bedrock runs on so many different devices, and some of those devices are absurdly low end. So if you run on a Windows 10 PC, it scales up really well. You can get 100 chunk render distance, so much higher than Java Edition can, because it's scaled well like that. However, it does mean that a lot of features just have been kind of scrapped because they don't work on low-end devices. For instance, if you look at amplified worlds, that's and even like regular world generation on Java is much higher than it is on Bedrock, because it has to be able to work and run on super low-end Android devices from 5-6 years ago, super low-end iPhones that are still supported by Apple, because they want Minecraft to be the everywhere platform. Minecraft shouldn't be an intensive game, so it should work on pretty much anything that can still run it. And although every now and then they make decisions not to run it on certain older hardware, they don't generally do it very often, and it means that there's a lot of features which we all really want, but they just aren't possible because of these lower-end devices. And this makes me wonder quite some bit, like, okay, so here's the deal. They've said before, and they literally said this when the consoles came out, like, oh yeah, so we're just gonna have to drop support for some old devices because they've been out there for a while, and it costs them money to update, and so on and so forth. I think they should maybe just start doing this for older, like Android and iOS devices. Maybe just say like, look, we'll keep your current version, you can play that as long as you like, we just won't support future updates. Or at the very least, get a whole team on Minecraft working out how to disable certain features for those lower-end devices, have a Minecraft Bedrock which works on lower-end devices, which doesn't have amplified, which doesn't have certain higher resource features, work out some system to remove this kind of implementation, because otherwise what we have is this big two-tier system where most people play Minecraft on high-end devices, but they don't have access to a lot of features which should be possible just because there is some tiny minority of players which are still playing on a super old device. I think that's not a particularly unreasonable demand to make, especially after, like even the Wii U, a console from 2012 and that was still supported by Nintendo themselves, does not receive updates for Minecraft anymore, just to allow the console edition, which is realistically the Bedrock edition, to move forwards. It kind of makes some more sense. They're like, okay, so if we're, if we're talking like 2012 being the cutoff date, why not move it a little bit forwards? I mean, I think that's a perfectly reasonable one. Like a 6-year-old device should play Minecraft, but should a 10-year-old device be able to play Minecraft? Should a 15-year-old device be able to play Minecraft? These are the questions you have to ask on a regular basis, and yeah, that's why I think Minecraft needs to start working out how it's going to deal with getting the, the key features, the ones which are most fun for the hardcore players, onto the Bedrock edition, because otherwise it's continuously going to be this game which, has the stigma to it. To this day, even though Bedrock is the most played version of the game, most of the, hardest core servers, most of the hardcore, like PvP players, all play on the Java edition. In fact, it's almost laughable to think about like a hardcore PvP community on Bedrock, and that's despite the fact that Java literally tore its PvP community in two, like despite the fact that that game is like a kind of torn to shreds as opposed with its multiplayer server community. Despite that fact, the server community is still stronger on Java. Can you imagine how absurd that is in any other game title, where the sequel, despite the prequel having so many issues, is still being massively outperformed? It just doesn't kind of make sense in a lot of ways, and this is why, these different theories, these different problems, is why I think it's important for Minecraft Mojang to put forward their plan for what they're doing in the future. We always had the rough idea, at least last year, it's like, oh yeah, Aquatic Update's going to be 3 phases, and then we're going to try and go for an update a month after that. Like, if it takes an update every 2 months, that's okay, but they wanted to get more frequent updates, and they wanted to also, get the Java updates out there. That made sense, we all followed that. It was a bit confusing after 1.6 came out, and it was basically one feature. It was a bit confusing when 1.7 came out, and it was basically no features, I mean, for survival players at least, but basically, like, this lack of knowing what's coming in an update means that people can just kind of hope that, like, oh, 1.9, that's the next update. Is it going to be a big one? I mean, probably. The betas hint that it might be, but who knows for sure? We don't even know what's going to be in the next update. We don't know the plans for when it's going to release. We don't know the plans for pretty much anything at any given time, and that's a big problem. This is Bedrock's biggest disappointment. This is Bedrock's biggest problem, and my idea for a simple solution is just like, hey, how about we ease up the communication? Again, when it comes to Bedrock, there's a lot of goodwill which isn't granted the same way as it is for other platforms. And although you can say, well, that sucks, like, it sucks that people just, admire the Java Edition team more, even though the Bedrock Edition team, is working harder generally, there's more more of them, so there's more output, even though it's the game which has more effort put towards it. You know, like, a lot of people see stuff like, you know, microtransactions being added to Minecraft and go, yeah, that's the version with the microtransactions. And when you have a situation like this and you're Microsoft, who manages all the games, it's your situation not to try and, you know, drag down the other games, but it's instead to say, like, okay, Bedrock Edition, let's talk about a roadmap, let's give a real idea of what's happening. A lot of people liked my What's Happening in Minecraft for 2019 video because they have pretty much no clue. It hasn't been communicated anywhere outside of maybe the odd live stream, which has about 60 views at a time, outside of the feedback.minecraft.net website, which is always recommended, but I mean, like, it hasn't taken off as a concept. Also, they remove, you know, there's a lot of issues with that as a concept. Like, you can't just try and force people like, oh yeah, go suggest your stuff here, we're listening to the community as long as you put it in the exact right place we want, etc, etc, etc. You know, the Minecraft, you know, Java team, they even responded to something on, you know, like, the Choosing Beggars subreddit. It was kind of funny, but, like, you know, the fact that their team is all over looking for the suggestions, you know, Minecraft suggestions subreddit, not owned by them, it's just a random subreddit, that's where Java Edition is taking their cues from, whereas Minecraft Bedrock seems to be mysteriously slotting in updates here and there. And again, because of the, you know, the goodwill which has been lost this year, I think it's important they try to gain it back. I think as a game, you know, Bedrock Edition has everything it has besides that reputation in the player base, and maybe that's not something they want. Maybe it doesn't matter to them because, you know, again, they have all the Minecraft editions, doesn't matter which ones has the prestige, but if you want to have Bedrock be the one which is most played, if you want the game to be the one which people go to by default, then you need to work better on the communication. You need to let people know that this is the version you're taking super seriously, and instead of showing us stuff like, oh yeah, we've updated the menu screens so we can show you that there's sales, and also so we can have a panda bear point to the store icon, because we don't think that you know where the store icon is unless there's a panda bear there. This sounds like a joke. This sounds like there's a genuine joke. No, check that's what they did. They updated the menu for Christmas so you could see it, just in case you didn't, you know, realize before that, like, oh, there was a store thing. Instead of doing all these things which are slowly generating bad will, why not try and generate some goodwill? I mean, maybe I'm the crazy one, but that seems like the biggest, you know, thing that Bedrock needs to do this year, because again, Java, it's pretty clear, like, you get an update to 2 updates a year. They're pretty big updates. They're, you know, taken somewhat from the community suggestions, as well as Jeb's mind, who's the, you know, senior game, you know, designer across all the platforms. That seems to be, we need something like that, some big vision, some big goal idea of what's happening in 2019, because despite the fact that I literally cover Minecraft news, I'm playing the game so much. I think I played about 1,500 hours on Bedrock alone on my Xbox last year, according to the achievement page, which is a lot of hours. I make a lot of videos, you know, something like 500 videos last year. You know, I'm following news constantly. I have so many different, you know, things I'm following all the time, and despite that fact, I'm still slightly puzzled, and that's not a good thing. When you have a game which you want to become a games as service or a game as whatever else, a game which has a long lifespan, you need to have a pretty good idea of what's actually happening, and that's something that's not there right now. So to put this, you know, perspective, let's do good old history plus Toycat. Everyone loves the history meme plus Toycat, but to make a good historical example, you know, there's been a huge civil war in the Minecraft community, both between Bedrock and console, which, you know, Bedrock basically assimilated console, and you know, there's the continuous one between Java and between Bedrock about which edition is this or that. What you need to do to just calm tensions is just make it clear that, yeah, this is all one game, and that these are the plans for all of the versions of the game, not that, like, oh yeah, but the Java's, you know, the good side, the winning side of the war is going to get this, the losing side of the war gets this. What does any of that mean? It doesn't make too much sense, and that right there is Bedrock's biggest disappointment, and Bedrock's biggest failure of, you know, this so far. So I'd love to see this change. I'd love for next week for me to be proven entirely wrong. I'd love if I had no clue what I was talking about. They're literally about to do a big Minecraft year review, maybe even because of this video, but I just don't think that's happening right now. And again, I'm looking forward to being proven wrong. I just don't think I will be. But that's what I think personally. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Again, Minecraft is a very community-driven game, especially on YouTube. So let me know your thoughts about, like, do you need to know more about 2019? Which of these features do you miss? Do you even care about these, or would you like to see entirely new exclusive content? Bedrock has a lot of exclusives, a lot of fun things going on that they do develop from time to time without real warning or explanation. If you like those, you're excited about those, let me know in the comments. But for now, thank you very much for watching this commentary style video. I make these videos, not a lot of people are like, well, are you just a hater? Do you not like the game? No, the truth is, I love Minecraft. Again, I stated literally in this video, I played over 1,500 hours last year. I don't know what that works out to per day, but like pretty depressing, I imagine. You know, I like Minecraft. It's a game that, you know, a lot of people might say I play too much. I like too much. But the reason that I make these videos is because I love the game, because I love community, and it makes me feel sad to see them send the entirely wrong messages. I feel like, you know, if you're working in Minecraft, if your, you know, whole job is Minecraft PR, you might miss the forest because of all the trees, and you might assume that everyone's just always excited all the time, no matter what bad things you do, but the truth is it's a bit more complex than that, and maybe, you know, like, maybe they do see this, maybe they are working on it, but from my position on the ground, it doesn't seem the same. But that's just my take on things. I hope you'll enjoy the video regardless. Like it if you liked it, share if you liked it, subscribe if you're around here, turn on those notifications if you want to see more of these videos, again, about the community and about the game in general, and I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.